and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised. This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised. This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised. This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised. This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised. This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include...
Welcome back, everybody. We do apologise for that. Hopefully everything is all fixed up now and we are ready. Oh no. Oh no. So this is a very muddy patch of road, and it's so muddy in fact that I don't even think I'm going to try it this morning. I am down here because there is, well, last night on his way back home, David came across some Ulululu females here, just two of them, and so I was going to have a bit of a look and see if the rest of the pride was around, but I just don't think it's worth the risk after such heavy rains last night. I'm not sure actually how much of my introduction you heard, but it rained very, very heavily last night. That was basically the point of it. And now there's a lot of frogs everywhere, which is very cool. Tiny little frogs are jumping about and making a whole heap of noise. I would shut off the engine and let you all listen, but I just want to get myself out of here safely first without becoming another marshmallow king. So also because of the rains, it's made me want to go up towards Owino territory and see if I can find, well, not really see if even I can find them, but just see what's happened after the burns and now the rains. So the burns were what, three or 4 days ago now, and the rains came last night, and I just want to see how everything has regenerated. And I saw a lot of animals the other day when I did go there. There was heaps of stuff to look at. So I'll tell you all about that later, but in the meantime, let's go down to South Africa and someone operating a spotlight.
Good morning everyone, or good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to Duma in the Greater Kruger. My name is Rusty, and behind the camera we have James. The fist pump says it all. We were hoping for more of a sunrise this morning, or a bit more of a colour change, but we have got grey looming skies. There was a bit of a drizzle, so we got a bit worried this morning. But it just turns out it might just be a slight drizzle, and it might just pass then out by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Or hopefully by even the time the drive ends, we might have the sun come through. A little bit of hope there. Anyway, we're on pursuit of pretty much anything and everything that goes around. There is still a few nocturnal animals about. As you can see, it's still very grey and dark at the moment. So we don't hope for much diurnal animals to be moving around. But right now we have a lot of activity of elephants in the area. Actually, every road we've driven down the last 10 minutes has shown fresh sign of elephant tracks. So, believe it or not, I haven't had a lot of activity with elephants or luck with elephants in the last couple of weeks. I seem to miss every second drive that they seem to have elephants. So, of course, I would love to see them anytime, anywhere. Just hopefully be able to show them when I'm out. Okay. Oh. There has been a lot of activity of leopard recently, which is obviously exciting for us as well as you. We did have Talamba a few days ago through here. We had Talamba coming through here a few days ago. Oh. Sorry about that. We talk about leopards and we find a leopard. It's after a scrub here. It's just after a scrub here. As we came around the corner, she was lying on the road, and there was a scrub here about 5 meters in front of it. Okay, I do apologize. The gremlins seem to be attacking from all sides this morning. My audio might be out of sync, so I do apologize. But at least we've got visual of her. You can at least see her quite clearly on the screen. Now the hare just ran slightly to the left of her. We did interrupt the hunt because I had no idea she was obviously on the road. But we'll just see what happens. It's quite hard once it runs off into thick grass like this, but leopards have the ability to zone in exactly where the hare is moving. Now this wasn't too far from where I saw Tundi yesterday. James, do you have an ID?
I don't have an ID from here. It looked a bit small. Maybe Kalamba.
This could be Kalamba or Tundi. It was just, obviously we've seen Kalamba. Excellent. I just seem to have awesome luck with her. I had her the other day for a couple of, almost like the longest 2-hour stalk I've ever been on, where she just realized the nyalas were way too big for her. But now she's taking on something for her perfect size. Well, she can do bigger, but I think a light snack on her hair is just what she needs for the morning. She's got full concentration. We've lost track of the hare. It's somewhere in the thicket. I agree, everyone. This is a fantastic way to start. It's amazing how you never know what's around the corners here. And I've got this massive respect for leopards and thrill when I find one. It's actually been nearly every drive now I've almost managed to find leopard. Just some of them by blind luck, some of them by other people calling them in. Isn't gone. I just don't want to interrupt her. MGN, what is? Sorry,
tail.
What is her tail doing right now? Her tail is a form of balance. Now that is actually pretty much the center of gravity is on that tail. As it's directly out and the body's completely upright posture. Now it's just a form of balance. Everything, when she takes off and runs, her tail helps a lot with the direction she's running, when she needs to turn, how she needs to turn, how quickly she needs to turn. It plays a vital role in a leopard's whole movement. But look, I've seen leopards with a cut-off tail, either through a fight or through hyenas, and they do just as well. But obviously when it comes to climbing trees, they need their tail. It's a vital part of them. But they do live quite easily without them. But not all, not 100%. It feels like this was 2 days ago.
It is Tundi.
James Richard. Yes. I believe it is Tundi. James has just concurred, and we agree it is Tundi, not Talamba. Now, Tundi, she's coming up to about 13 years of age, if I'm not correct.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm correct, she is 13 years of age, but she's in excellent condition. for her age, and we believe she might be coming into season, or is in season. She's been showing a lot of signs of that. And there was actually the skittish male that was seen around here yesterday as well, who might be following up on her scent. Whether or not they met up last night, because we bumped into her on drive, and Trish bumped into the skittish male, not even 400 meters from each other. So whether or not they met up last night, we don't know. But if they were mating, they'll obviously be joined at the hip right now, which is not the case. So yes, the hare, this will be a perfect meal for her, but she can do a lot bigger animals, but a little snack can go a long way. If there's anything to go by, this could be taking 5 minutes, this could take 10 minutes, it could go off in the next 2 seconds. It's very hard to determine. She's almost losing concentration, but I think she's just waiting for the hare to move, because it's gone to quite a thick grassy patch. As much as I don't want to leave, I think Tristan might have something to show you all.
Well, what a start to our morning. Very well done, Rusty. Nice that Tundi is around. It's been a while since I've seen her, so I'm glad that she's been seen yesterday and today, and hopefully she'll get herself a little scrub hare meal at some stage during the course of the morning, or a meal of some sort. Now, as Rusty mentioned, my name is Tristan. On camera, I've got Sebastian this morning, and we are up in the northwestern corner of Djuma at the moment. We're just doing a little scan around quickly at Sydney's Dam, and then we're going to do the western boundary in the hope that maybe we can find Shidulu and the little ones. Now, of course, I don't know where they are. They were last on Arathusa, but you never know. Maybe we get lucky and they come through. They were on a kill 2 days ago, not too far from the boundary, and so it's a worthwhile endeavor to go and check our western boundary, just in case little hookadulus are around and maybe on our side. Since we've only seen one, it would be nice to make an acquaintance of the other one. So that's the plan for the morning. We're going to head that way. If we don't fail there, we'll go and maybe scratch around for a little lumber. Anyway, we don't have much for you to look at, and so we're going to send you back to Rusty with Tundi, who's still stalking.
Saw her tracks. Well.
She hasn't moved very far. Literally, I think she actually lost concentration on the actual hare. The hare has not moved at all. Oh, there she goes. This might spark or trigger a chase. She's very slow moving. She's registering every foot, every movement. She's placing her back pad exactly where the front pad is. So any snap of a branch, move of her, check that concentration. This is taking slow motion to a whole new level. Precise. You can see how every step counts. Her back foot's exactly going where her front foot was. Her ears aren't even moving. She's focused. Come on, girl. I think I can hear my heartbeat. Come on, girl. Now, patience is the greatest game. Watch the tail. Finding balance. That looked like it was a miss. We're just going to drive forward and see where she is around the corner, but that was a... we were hoping for the best, but she's a very well-learned leopard, but her hair was quite an interesting game for her. She's giving me that lick over the shoulder saying, "You really going to follow me? You're welcome to, but don't come any closer." Well, it's still that time of the morning where there's quite a few hares around, so she might have a bit more luck. She might... What is her plan now? There's a lovely road in front of you, girl. It'll be amazing if you could stay on it, but you can't always tell leopards what to do. Or any animal. Just going to go around the other side. Yeah. Well, that was very exciting, very on edge. Oh, I had my hairs. I could actually hear my heartbeat. But hopefully she gets something larger later. A hare can only follow up for a certain amount of time. Yeah. But this time of the year, you know, with this grass changing that orangey color, the brown color, it makes it even more difficult to track leopards through here. And of course she's taking the hard route. Would have been amazing if she stayed on the road, but it's never as easy as that. And I do the excellent thing of stalling the vehicle. But she's coming directly across in front of us. So that makes it a perfect lineup. She's just behind. There's her nostrils sticking out. Now she is on the hunt, so we will stick with her. Alison, that was a big scene. It is always amazing to catch them at the right moment. And like I said, with Talamba the other day, we spent 2 hours on the longest stalk ever. Now her mother, this is her mother, Tandy, and she's a lot more advanced, and obviously she moved in a lot quicker. She does look like she's got a bit of a belly on, but I saw her a few days ago, she looked exactly the same as this. So whether or not she's just a very healthy leopard, or she might even have something cooking, she could be pregnant, but who knows? She has been seen flirting with the males, but whether that's a false estrus or not, we're not sure. Okay. We're going to keep moving around. Obviously, it's not the easiest. And she's gone to a very thick area. Okay. Oh yeah, well thank you very much for joining the unscheduled broadcast. That was a very intense moment, but you can get back to your usual activities you do this morning or today and join us on the normal show, normal broadcast. Do you think she really... Okay. On a cool day like this, she's pretty much going to hunt most of the day if she doesn't get any luck. Okay. She'll just... we have to like maneuver around the bushes, and finally we'll try to get to a place where, oh, there she comes. She is so relaxed with the vehicle, with us. Oh, she's absolutely amazing. And I do wish her all the best of luck with hunting, and hopefully we might be able to show you what she gets up in the next half an hour or so. But obviously we don't want to interfere too much and follow her until she gets irritated with us. So let's go over to Oli, who's on bushwalk.
Lochani noke lo ngumzwana kamthimunye ujodo lamanzi amnandi lo wangina esibayeni wahlabe ikoma ngavunule unomaziya nomngoma ngiso okane lide limhlophe lelingakhambi phasi mara likhamba emanzini ngimswa lona wathi babona into bayibaleka mina ngayibona ngayibhudungela saphaphi isiphapha mshini bathi ngisibona ngani ngathi ngisibona ngamalerhe lawakhanya pa ibizo lami nginguxoli, and joining us behind the camera this morning is David. Not forgetting to mention Raxon, our game scout. So for any questions and comments, you can send them on #SafariLive on Twitter or YouTube chat stream. My plans for this morning are simple. We're going to be looking for these small little things from the tracks, the small insects, the birds, the nests, to the big game, if we are lucky with that. So the weather is bleak this morning. You can see we don't have sunrise yet because we have this cover of clouds. The weather is 21 degrees Celsius, 61 degrees Fahrenheit. Not bad at all because I'm not wearing my jacket. I have a wide arm belt. What I've just said, it's my praise. Those are the things we normally say when you're greeting each other or when you get into the yard, and you have to say that so that everyone in the house will know who's entering their yard, I can say. We say those praises, more especially the men. They say those praises. Those are the mixture of my mother's side and my father's side, Pedi and Ndebele. Maybe I'll be lucky to find a cat like Steve yesterday, who knows, and some big elephant. But I would love to have buffalo on foot. I had buffaloes on foot on my interview day here. So since that, nothing. And David asked me to give him some micro shots. Micro shots are these shots that he will take on the ground, and then he will kneel down and give you all these little things that we can't really see when we're driving and while we're walking, not concentrating much on the ground. So let's just wait and listen. There's a woodpecker pecking the tree. And I'm so lucky. I have some antelopes ahead of me, and they are so relaxed, the impalas. Good morning, impalas. This is the game we normally see each and every time we go out on drive on bushwalk. They are always around the camp. You can see the place is open, and that's where they prefer to be at during the night. So they will be in a group so that, you know, safety in numbers is always the best. So while I'm looking for these little things and while listening at the same time, let's go to the special cat of the morning.
Well, although all these impala are very relaxed, I wonder how relaxed they'll be when they know leopards are watching them. Well, we just had her perched on top of the termite mound, obviously for easy surveillance, so she can survey the area while she hunts, just to see if whatever is moving around. But as we came to her, she disappeared on the other side. But we will keep up with her for a bit longer. Jeanette, have I seen Tandy snarl? Absolutely. I yesterday on our train drive. It wasn't with the camera, sadly, but we literally came just above the hill over a drainage line, and she was lying just about 2 meters from the road. We didn't see her until the last minute, but obviously she just didn't move. She just looked at us and snarled. And that was a clear indication of who she was instantly. Everyone in the vehicle was like, yep, Tandy. So yes, this is the third time I've seen her, and it's a clear indication straight off of who she is, generally by her attitude. She is generally quite fine, but obviously at a certain time, every now and again she'll just look over the shoulder, give you a bit of a lip raise, and then move on. But it's her what's it called? Her way. She has her boundaries, same as us. If something gets too close to us and we don't like it, it's just a way of saying, yep, come any closer, you might have a problem. But sometimes we can just be there for a good 2 hours and then she'll just look at you and snarl, like, really? I don't think I smell too bad. But we are going to keep it distant because she is on the hunt and it would be amazing to see. But in the bush like this, if she darts off very quickly, it's very hard to keep up. But it'll be amazing to see what she does end up with in the next next 2 hours, if we're going to stay with her. Like I said, we're going to keep with her. But she is very, like I said, if I lose her for like even 2 minutes in this grass, she can disappear. She can just go right or left and she's gone. It's very difficult. Now, there is another termite mound ahead of her where she might go up. There's an impala there. There's actually an impala that she's following. Oh. Okay, there's impala further up, but she's gone into stalk mode again. She's lying quite flat in the grass. Just more left. There we go. You can just see the tip of the tail. One of the giveaways. Now leopards, they do one or two things when they're on the hunt. They can either stalk because they use their camouflage to get as close as possible and use the ambush mode. Or if they know they're going to break cover, they try and maneuver right around. I've seen them almost go like way out the way or whatever they're hunting and come in from a completely different direction if they know they're going to be exposed themselves. So they will find the easiest cover to use to their full advantage. Now there's quite a large termite mound between her and the impala. She might actually use that as a form of cover. I think that's what she's doing now. Oh, the birds have spotted her. The impala, I'm sure, unaware of her presence because they would have let out a snort by now. Some way of alarming that she's around. But there's nothing coming from them. I cannot see what she is following. I know it's impala, but we've lost sight of them. I think James has got visual of them from above, behind me. He's a James like, it's not often that I'm tall. Oh, there we go. Can you all see it? I'm just on the left-hand side of the screen. There's movement. Now this is a perfect meal for her. Actually, she's a well-advanced leopard. She knows what she's doing. But not all hunts are successful, as you saw with the scrub hare. Now we're as close as we can get, and we don't want to get any closer without disrupting either impala or her. But she has time on her side, and so do we. So as long as we can observe her from this distance, it's great. I think she's going to use the ambush approach. She's going to hope for the animal to walk towards her. Yeah, like I say, as soon as we zoom the camera out, she has laid down in the grass. As soon as we zoom out, she disappears. Sarah, you love watching her in stalk mode. I think it is the most unique, beautiful movement of cats in general. It's just, have you tried to do the leopard crawl? I know a lot of people do it as an exercise, and the army does it for training, but it's intense, and it just goes to show how well they do it. And they can actually go really quickly in the leopard crouch, in the stalk mode. As far as I'm aware, she hasn't moved. Oh, she's in there somewhere. I can't even see a rosette or flick of a tail. So this is where I was talking about earlier. Her coat allows her to camouflage very easily. You can be mere 2 meters from her, but if she lies flat in the grass, without her knowing that she's there, you can look straight through her. Her coat is designed like that. Now until she moves, you're like, how did I miss that? Because you see the full body. Sometimes it's like when she is in thick bush, or not even, when a leopard's in a thick bush, you can't even make out the full animal until he or she moves. As far as we're aware, she is still there. She hasn't moved. But if she stays in crouch mode, she can move off left or right without us knowing. And probably the only giveaway is when the impala take off. By then it'll be too late either for her or for the impala. The impala are moving off more to the right. So, yes, I will stay with her and see what she does next, but I can't promise you anything or say if she's going to make an attempt any minute. We're going to head over to Tristan, who's got 2 spotted hyenas.
Well, good luck, Rusty. Hopefully you'll be able to keep up with her, and hopefully she'll grab a meal. Now, as you can see, we've got one of her arch enemies in the form of 2 hyenas that have been comical, to say the least, this morning. We first found them, well, one squatting next to the side of the road and having a bit of a toilet break, and then they went racing off down the road and running around. Then they chased a little baby duiker, which they missed, fortunately for the duiker, but unfortunately for them. And now they've come to an area that is basically a latrine for hyenas. This is an area that has been used for years, ever since I've come here in 2011. This particular spot is where many hyenas have defecated and urinated and pasted, and so now they're busy sniffing all the hyenas that have come here in the past. So you can see they've got their noses right up against little pieces of grass, and so that's exactly where the anal pasting would have happened. Look, you see that one is busy doing it itself, so it will walk over a piece of grass with its tail up, and there's a gland that sits under their anus, and it has basically a paste that comes out of it, which is excuse me, full of sensory information, and we'll be able to tell all of the other hyenas that come past who they are, what sex they are, even potentially what their sort of rank is within the clan. And so it's an area where you'll find a lot of hyenas will spend quite a bit of time sniffing about and looking and going to the toilet and pasting and really kind of establishing what's going on for themselves, as well as then sending a message to the rest of the clan that comes through. And that's quite a nice place to come in winter. Now in summer is very difficult because you can see the grass is very thick and you can't really notice the amount of hyena dung that's here. But when you come in winter, this whole area is just littered with that white feces that hyenas leave behind. And so it's a really cool place to kind of come and scratch around and just see what's going on. And always when the hyenas come past here, they stop and they will have a little sniff. And this is basically a territorial kind of boundary that they're going to be smelling and making sure that they kind of uphold. And it's because basically this is the divide between the EP clan and the Djuma clan in many respects. This is kind of as far as the Djuma clan tends to push, and the EP clan sometimes comes this side as well. Now, interestingly enough, they came from Djuma side running along the road, and now they've turned back into Djuma, which is quite interesting. Nancy, you say this is not a good place to gather. I think you said herds. No, if you're an animal that is a herbivore and is hunted by hyenas, then no, probably not the best place. Plants. Okay, no, not the best place at all. It's unfortunately not going to work very well. Good, so now hyenas have left us. We're going to I'm going to go do a loop round because they've both gone to the toilet, which means that they're both fairly full. Well, we saw that they were fairly full. And they kind of ran this way, and then they've smelled and sniffed, and then they've gone back towards Djuma, and towards sort of a road that we have that often gets tracks for Hukamuri and Shadulu. And I wonder if maybe, just maybe, there isn't a carcass somewhere around. So I want to just go around and just double check the tracks and see if maybe these guys have been milling around quite a bit over the last little bit, and that maybe there's something around. You never know. Sometimes hyenas are worth following and worth just checking and seeing where they go, especially ones that are as sort of active as these two have been this morning. It was amazing to watch them running down the road. They were at full speed, just running for a long way. And then eventually a little baby duiker, a small one like this, popped out. And then they chased that around, and unfortunately they were a little slow. The duiker had a bit more speed than what they did, and then they got distracted with smells and various kind of scents that are around. Right, now we're going to go around, like I say, we're going to go check the other side where they were heading towards. And in the meantime, let's send you to Oily so he can say good morning on his walk.
Tristan, I might need your help here, including the viewers, because we have this beautiful, colorful butterfly, and it's sitting still there. Wait for this butterfly to open its wings. It's so colorful. It has 4 orange color like dots, and then it has a blue dot in the middle. I thought it was a blue pansy, but I wasn't sure, so I will need help if anyone knows what this butterfly is. I know it doesn't show all the features, but I'm sure it will open its wings while we are still with it and send those answers to #SafariLive on Twitter. Butterflies are easily recognized by their wings, because when they are stationary, they will lift up their wings. And then the moths, they will open their wings when they are stationary. And it's so difficult to see this within these grasses because it's well camouflaged. Gex, yes, it looks so fuzzy, but the dull color you're seeing right now, it will change if it can open its wings. Most definitely, this butterfly is so colorful. And if we make any movement now, it will fly away. David, do you think it will open its wings? Oh. And I can't really tell what this is, and it's so difficult to tell because we can't see all the features. Oh, please open your wings. It doesn't open its wings. David will try all his best. Oh, there. Do you see it, David? Yeah, David is trying to get a nice shot. He's walking very carefully in this thick grass. You got it? Wings open. And let me get a nice view there. Still the same. Oh, as you can see, the orange color and some black spots there. And it's alone here. I don't think it's with the mate, or maybe it's looking for a mate, who knows. This is a perfect weather to look for a mate. Cloudy. Janet wants to know, what do butterfly eat? They eat the nectar from the flowers. What they do is they have this mouth part that is called the proboscis. So they just feed on that. They suck nectar from those flowers. And the interesting part, they also have an interesting life cycle, because they have 4 life stages, which is an egg to go to a larvae, go pupa, and then an adult. That is called a complete metamorphosis. Oh, it doesn't want to give us all the pretty colors it has. Whew. And David is getting tired. And I'm sure they are aware that we are around. Oh, some of the viewers are saying it might be a yellow pansy. Hopefully it is a yellow pansy, but I'll look that up, or I'll ask Tristan when I'm off air. When? Maybe I'll get you a nice answer. Because he's familiar with these butterflies, you know there are a lot of butterflies that looks very, very different. And it's so difficult to master them all. But hopefully Tristan will give me an answer. But I trust that the yellow pansy. I trust the yellow pansy answer. So let's leave this bright colored butterfly that doesn't want to show its bright colors and go to the hyena den.
Well, we'll have a look when we get back for sure. It's always good to be able to ID butterflies. But as you can see, we're still with Corky. I don't know where Heart's gone at the moment, but Corky is still moving about and very intrigued with something. Their noses are in the air the whole time and just sniffing about and kind of moving around. And so I want to follow her and just see where she goes. You can see, quite alert and quite sort of wary of what's going on, and there's a lot of smelling going on and a lot of kind of looking around. So I'm intrigued as to what she's busy kind of checking. Maybe there's been an intruder, and that's why they've done a lot of marking and kind of going and patrolling, or she's just kind of cementing her sort of area and making sure that everybody knows that this is part of her domain. And she is heading now back towards, roughly, it's not close at this stage, but the right direction to go back towards the den site. So worthwhile, I think, following her. I'm just trying to see if Heart is still coming, because we found Corky first, and Corky left Heart back at the sort of road, but I don't see her. She doesn't look like she's come this way. Okay, so we're still with just Corky at the moment. So let's just follow her along and see what she gets up to and where she goes. It's always intriguing to watch hyenas move around, and it was obviously just a territorial kind of marking that was going on, and I'm just surprised that they ran though all the way there, marked, and then now it's kind of waddling her way back into Djuma. So I don't know what caused it or why there was so much kind of feverish marking. Like I say, maybe there was another member of the EP clan that drifted in here last night that they saw off, and now they're just making sure that they send a very clear message that this is their domain and not somebody else's. Does she cut off the road, or is she still on the road? Okay. I don't want to drive too close, because otherwise she's going to want to run off and go into the thickets. So it's always better just to give hyenas a little bit of space when you're following them. Leopards and lions are not nearly as worried about a car behind them, but hyenas typically aren't too kind of comfortable with cars right behind them. So you give them a much bigger lead time, and then they typically stay on the road for a lot longer. So it'll be interesting to see where she heads. If she cuts off to the right here, then she's going to go to the den, which will be nice. Oh, there we go. So she's going to go, I think, to the den, but I'm not going to follow her through the block if she's going to go that way. It's quite a thick, dense area. And so what I'll do is I'm going to loop round and we'll go to the den on our own steam and then catch up with her. But yeah, she's heading straight towards the den side. So Seb, let's go towards the den. Let's go and have a little look at what's happening that side. Also just wanted to, on our way past here, check the vulture nest, see if they're starting to prep it. But still, I suppose, a little bit early for that. Good, I'm going to carry on round to the den. Like I said, it's going to take us a bit of time to get there. In the meantime, though, back to Rusty and Tundi, and I wonder if she's still on the hunt.
Well, she has got closer, but she's hiding in the grass. The impala knew something was up. They started snorting and moving around a little bit, but they haven't moved far off from where she is. So she's keeping a close eye on them. I think she's done this many, many times, so she knows what she's doing. Obviously, any movement she does now can be quite suspicious to the impala that are already quite alert of something being around. So I think she has to wait for them to relax a little bit, or even get a bit skittish and move. Obviously, it's very difficult to say if they're impala going to move towards us. The only thing that's going to push them towards us is something from the other side of them. But that's not going to happen. The impala are very much alert that something's around. So I think she knows that. The impala knows that. Although the impala are not sure what at this point. So she's almost like going into like a quick power nap to wait for the impala to relax before she makes her next move. She's keeping an eye on us too. There you go. See? 10-minute power nap. That's all she needs. impalas will go back to feeding, and then she'll make her next move. There is a bit of a gap in front of her where she can be quite exposed. Janet, are leopards only successful out of 2 out of 10 tries while hunting? Yes, it all depends on where they are and what the vegetation's like and what animals are around for them to eat. So yes, depending on the age of the leopard, how good they are at hunting, I'll say 1 out of every 5 stalks is successful, 1 out of every 10, depending on where they are. It's very hard to say. Obviously, with age, it comes experience. Yeah, she's very relaxed now. She knows she's got time on her hands. She's not going to push for it anytime soon, which is fine. But, the impalas might decide to change direction, and she won't miss it. She's very much aware of what's going on. Although she looks relaxed and is grooming, it doesn't mean anything. It just means she's just going to wait out. The impala's almost like staring at us like something's up. Now actually the one's gone back to feeding. And actually they relax now. We've got a relaxed leopard, a relaxed impala, so it's going back to how it was earlier. Well, we're going to keep a close eye on her, and we're going to link over to Oli on bushwalk.
Yes, finally we found some colors because the butterfly refused with its colors. This is a golden upweb spider. And it's big. Hey, let me show you the size of this. I have to be extra careful because its web is all around here. Oh, sorry. Not a good idea. But I can say it's half of my hand. Do you agree, David? Yeah. And this is called the golden upweb spider because of the web. When the sun is shining, and the web will reflect the golden color. But now you can't see that because we have clouds. And let me show you how big this web is. It starts from that tree. If you can go back a little bit, David. It's really big. Hey, it starts from this tree to that tree. And the actual part of this web is here. Oh, and we have a male. Can you see a male, David? Yeah, there. It's on your left there. Here we have a male that is small and it's brown in color. What happens is the male hangs around here all the time, waiting for the female to be disturbed, and then he will just mount the female and mate. So he has to be extra careful because if he doesn't make great countings, he will be devoured by the female. So sometimes they will bring food, then they will distract the female with a piece of insect there, and then while the female is feeding, the male will be mating. So what they do is, you will ask yourself how they build this web, because you can see the distance from one tree to the other tree. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 meters, if I'm not mistaken. What they do is they will come here on this tree and they will stay here, and what they do is they will produce a web. So if the wind goes that side, they will produce more silk, more silk, more silk, until the silk goes to the other tree. And then they will do it, they will reinforce that silk. So that line they will do, line of silk they will do, it's called a bridge line. Let me draw this down, David, so that I'll get a nice explanation. Let's go down. You said we must go down this morning. If we can come closer here. Can you see it? Yes, Davidito. Yes. Let's take, we have 2 trees here. And then the spider will be here, will sit here. And then it will produce silk. If, let's say, the wind is going this direction, it will produce silk slowly and slowly and slowly, 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 until it reaches this tree. And what it do is, it will go back again, reinforcing this silk. And then this silk right here, we call it a bridge line. And what it will do is, it will start from there again. It will go from here, it will do this, and again it will do that. And it will do another silk like here, which is called the foundation line. And from that it will do the radius like this, that, like that, like that. And then it will start constructing its web like that. Interesting, hey? Very interesting. So I'll be leaving my golden orb web spider and move forward. I didn't get the name, but there's something happening with, I don't know, maybe Rusty, maybe Tristan, maybe Trishala. Let's see.
We have Tundi on the hunt. There's Impala's not a mere 10 meters in front of her. She's using the cover of the grass to get closer in the bushes. She's just there on the left-hand side of the screen if you are finding it difficult to spot her. Now she has. This has been going on for the last, let's say, half an hour, 45 minutes, and she is getting closer and closer. But she is a very successful adult female leopard who has done many hunts. She's just disappearing into the grass there. She's laid down flat now. She's going to use that as a form of ambush or a quick sprint to get as close as possible or to capture the impala. Can we make out them, how far these impala off? Yeah, they're literally about 5 meters, 10 meters from her. It's a bit difficult to show them through the bushes there. Greatest game of patience. It could happen any second. It could take another 20 minutes. We do not know. But since we are with her, we don't want to miss that moment. Now she's lying down flat in the grass. It's very difficult to see her. Now our eyes are as bad as they are. Well, we're supposed to have very good eyesight, some better than others. But when it comes to impalas, impalas have very good eyesight and very good sense of smell. So she's working with the wind. So if those impala pick up a scent, they're gone. So she's going to be downwind from them as much as possible, as not to alarm them or allow the scent to be carried towards them. So right now she's working with cover and the wind. And hearing. Hearing will obviously play a big role in listening to whether impala are moving. Now she is in there. It's very difficult to see. And we have an alarm. I don't think the impala have seen her. I think they've just smelt her. Or they know that something's up. There we go. Oh, she knows she's been spotted. So yes, that's when the game is up for her for now. Yes. Can you all hear that? So yes, the impala did spot her. That snorting is the alarm call, and now she's moved off and given up the hunt. For now, it could change in the next 10 minutes, but they are very aware of her. Check that. That's a clear indication of a predator in the area, not a vehicle. The white tip of the tail. Okay, we're going to keep up with her and see what else she gets up to this morning. Well, that was very intense for both of us, but yeah, like I say, 1 out of 5, one out of every 10 hunts is unsuccessful, but there is that one chance she gets it. It is very cool this morning, so she's got lots of time on her hands. Okay, while we follow up on her, we'll go over to Tristan, who's busy with our hyenas at the den.
Well, it is very cool this morning that she's got lots of time, and that it's also the weather is good. It hopefully means that she's going to be hunting in. Now stop it, you lot. Now we're at the den at the moment, and you might be able to see, I might be in the way, but we've got 2 little ones that are being naughtier than naughty. They managed to pull something off the car just now. I have no idea what it is, but it came out of the front end of the car, which is probably not a good thing. No, stop it. What are you biting there? No. Goodness, they've got a cable of some sort that they're busy biting. Seb, we're losing bits of our car.
The car is not going to start.
Yeah, the car's not going to start, but let's just start it just so that they stop. Well, you look at these faces, though. How can you get upset with a face like that? What have you pulled out? Because there's now a massive cable that is hanging out the right side of the car, but I have absolutely no idea where it's from. They went in underneath the engine at one point, and it's the problem when you leave these guys to do things on their own accord. Now, I wonder if that's not Corky that's arriving that's caused them to run like that, because they all of a sudden kind of ran up towards the den itself. I think they are Pretty's cubs. I'm not sure if Plonk is here. It might be one of them, might be Plonk, but they look like maybe Pretty's ones, and then there looks like Ribbon that is lying down at the moment. But Corky was on her way here. Definitely is Ribbon that's lying there, and Corky was on her way here, but I mean, she hasn't arrived just yet, so hopefully she will soon kind of move into this area. But the troublesome 2 that are much older are going to be teaching their younger siblings lots of naughty things if they continue to be like this, and like I say, they're going to be biting and chewing everything. You can actually see in the background at the moment, it's difficult for Seb because of the tree, and I don't want to go too much further forward because we'll disturb Ribbon, but now it's time for sticks and things to be bitten as well, and I wouldn't be surprised that they come back towards us at some point as well.
And chew on your brakes again.
Yes, they're not allowed to. I honestly have no idea what cable they pulled out, but they pulled out some sort of cabling. I hope it's not for our lights or something like that. It probably is, knowing our luck. But you can see they... yeah, a lot of you are apparently laughing and thinking it's hilarious. It is funny at first, but the problem is that it's so difficult now to come here without having to discipline these ones all the time. As you just sit here, end up shouting at them more than you actually talk about them, because they just pretty much dismantle your car while you're sitting here. And it's very much like this at the North Clan Den. In fact, it was worse at one point at North Clan Den, because there was 11 of the little ones. And you had this assault by 11 cute hyenas. They would come and they would just take everything off your car, and they would bite your headlights, your mud flaps, your tires, and chunks of your car would go missing as you sat there. You kind of took your life into your own hands when you went to North Clan Den. At least this one is only 2 of them, and much more manageable in terms of kind of keeping them at bay and making sure the car survives the onslaught that is the hyena den. Also, of course, we try not to teach them bad habits and allow them to do these things. You've got to kind of tell them to not do it, and try and start the car and move the car a little bit, and that way they eventually stop with their biting and their kind of pulling of your car apart. But it takes a while for them to grow out of it. Unfortunately, when they're at this age, everything must be sniffed and must be bitten and must be played with. And when they start to come across things like tires, well, tires are rubbery and soft, and so they're the perfect thing to chomp down on, and you'll find that they do it quite regularly. So you've got to be a bit kind of careful when you're around a den, and make sure that you have your eyes the back of your head as they kind of go around all kind of directions. Now here we go, round 2. Nancy, you say we need some sort of anti-hyena spray for the car. Well, yes. Although we like seeing them, it's just we need sort of a barrier that they don't come within a certain distance, and that they don't eat the car. They're quite welcome to come and sort of sniff around and come say hello, but the eating of the car is not acceptable. But at least it seems as though the two of them have lost their fascination with the car now. But knowing them, they'll get bored shortly, and then it'll be back to us to go and carry on pulling that cable that is in the front end of the car. Like I say, I just hope it's not for our lighting system, because that's going to be a bit... no, our lights still work, so that's okay. Everything there is still good, so it must be just some sort of cable that's probably useful for something, but as long as the car starts and the lights work, I think we'll be all right at this stage. Just now I'm going to feel the slow loss of pressure in my brakes or my... No, it looks like an electrical cable, not a kind of pipe. So I'm not really sure. I'll have to get out of the car later and have a little look exactly what they did. But there was lots and lots of chewing going on and pulling and all kinds of other things inside there at one point. And we'll have to kind of double check what's happening. But anyway, it's okay. Like I say, the car still starts, which is probably the best news about the whole thing. But I haven't seen any sign of the little ones yet, or of June's cubs this morning. They haven't appeared as yet. They like to hang around on the other side of the den quite a lot of the time. Often when you go around that side, you find June kind of tucked up behind a bush, and she's has her two little ones with her. Obviously, Ribbon lying here means that the two smallest of the whole grouping will still be inside the mound. They don't tend to come out unless, of course, she goes and lies right there near the entrance and calls them out, or lies there to suckle them. They haven't gotten brave enough yet to start coming out and sort of down to where Ribbon is and lying out here just yet. Apparently the other night, though, when it was under the cover of darkness, the little ones did come down with Ribbon and move around with her. But every time I've been here during the day, they stay inside the mound for the most part, and only when Mom goes up to the entrance do the little ones start to come out. But you can see trouble is disappearing around. Maybe they're going to flank us, Seb. Have to watch from behind, make sure that we don't get taken by these marauding, cute little hyenas that are moving about. I must be honest, I'm surprised Corky hasn't arrived yet, because she should be here by now. It's the right sort of distance and timing that she should have arrived by now. So, sorry, Kirst, I missed that question completely. I just said something about something that hyenas don't like, but I didn't get the whole thing, unfortunately. Yeah. Sumet. Well, they won't like the smell or scent of another hyena that's not from their clan. That's not going to go down very well at all. The smell of lions typically is not good, and the smell of leopards too. Although leopards, I suppose, more is like a little dinner bell smell. They'll often follow leopards around in the hope that they find themselves a meal. So, those are going to be offensive senses smells for them. I would imagine anything very chemical based. So if you had to use something like a bleach or something like that, I'm pretty sure they're not going to enjoy that at all. But everything else really seems to be fair game for them. They don't seem to worry about any sort of smells from cars. They obviously are a nightmare when it comes to food waste. They'll come and take bins and things like that if you don't properly manage your waste. And so those kind of things they don't mind. They go into mud and things like that stinks into carcasses. So, their sense of smell, really, I would imagine, in terms of natural things, is really only other hyenas that are competition or lions that would really be that offensive to them. I don't think they're too stressed about anything else. But in the human world, chemical scent, I would imagine, would not be very pleasant for them. When something that has such an incredibly powerful sense of smell, I would imagine things like bleach and stuff like that must just be so overpowering and almost kind of, it makes my eyes water thinking about it. I mean, I don't know if you've ever taken a sort of thing of bleach and smelt it. It's not very pleasant. So you can imagine for them how bad it would be. But, I mean, it's difficult to know. Obviously, they can't express when they don't like something, but generally in terms of when they're scenting, there's very few things that are natural that they don't like. Ribbon, are you tired, girls? It's been a tough few weeks raising little ones again. Been so nice that they've all kind of had little ones at once. It would be so interesting to know who the sort of male is that mated with all of them, because if it is the same male, he's most definitely a rather fertile fella. Good, I'm gonna go around onto the other side, see if we can see if June is here with the other ones. In the meantime though, let's send you across to Ollie, who's looking at the smaller things.
I hope Tristan will get a nice spot while he's relocating to another side of the den. So what's happening here, it's this thing that we are looking at right now. I'm sure everyone doesn't see anything, just dead, you can say. We have a spider of some sort here. Let me just make it move a little bit. You can see that. Look, it's well camouflaged. And it has some, I think it's gravel or woody material that it's using to camouflage. You can see this is a spider and this is, yeah. And we're not looking at it actually, we're looking at, there's a hole here and there's ants. We're looking at this, so I went down, then this thing started moving. And I was like, what is that? I thought maybe it was just grass being moved by wind. But I found this, even, I have to point for David because he can't even say it. Here, David, look. Awesome. Do you know this thing? It's a spider that I can see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's looking at you now, David. Can you see? The one, I think it's a spider. Yeah. How did it do that? You said? Yeah. Nice. Yes. Let me remove this piece of grass because it's holding on onto this beautiful spider of us. Let me just remove it. Oh, this is a 3-on grass and it's sticky. That's why it's stuck here. Oh, it's beautiful. Hey. I want to help you, buddy. If you can go back a little bit. Yeah. But can you say it? Yeah. Very cool, hey? We just make this green piece. This green piece, eh? Let's just remove this. Nice one. So, David, will you give this Spidey a name? My name will be... Yeah, the viewer saying it has an antenna. They don't think it's a spider. So what is this thing? Because it has it has 6 legs. Then if it has 6 legs, it's an insect. Because spiders have 8 legs. That makes them arachnids. Oh, it's working. Look there. Ooh, this is cool. And this thing is stuck. Oh, how can I help you with that one? I'm trying to help here. Because this 3-on piece, it's stuck. Oh, send your one-word tweet about this. My one-word tweet is awesome. Yeah, and it has this stuff on its back to camouflage, because you can see this thing over here, it's not part of its body. It just attached this material on its body. That's what it used to camouflage well. Oh, there it goes. Look, you can't even see here. Where is it, David? You see it? It's here. Look, it's here. Look. Yeah. This guy is on another level. And yeah, he said, yeah, I can still see him here. Yeah. Look. Ooh, this is magic. David's boots. You still see him? Yeah. Yeah, nice one. Oh, I'm making David to work this morning.
Is that him?
Ah.
There it is.
Oh, I found him. Yeah, that's him. And these are the things that you will never see while driving. You have to kneel down to see such amazing creatures. Oh. Magic, right? That was magic. So we have to be extra careful when we leave the spot, because we have to know where we're stepping, because this guy right here, he can camouflage very well. Oops, let me leave this guy. Maybe he's trying to get a nice spot to hide. Let me see too. Yes. So while we still looking for other amazing stuff, let's go to Rusty for an update.
With that, thank you. Well, we left Tony to her own devices. She headed off into another property where we cannot follow, but she is scent marking like crazy. So that's a clear indication that she's trying to find a man. I think is not cutting it now. There was a skittish male. We think he's about what, 5. We're not too sure of the age of the leopard that was seen yesterday, male leopard, but he is in the area. So I've got a very funny feeling he's following up on her. Whether she accepts it is a different story, but she is very keen on finding a male very soon. So that actually shows that she is definitely not pregnant, and the belly that she is actually what older female leopards or older leopards get to at a certain point, especially her. It actually looks like she's full all the time, but it's actually an old woman. Anyway, I'm heading up to a different area. I'm trying to So, yes.
Damn wall there somewhere. Well, unfortunately, it seems as though Rusty is being plagued by gremlins as Tundi disappeared, and so you're unfortunately back with us. Well, fortunately, unfortunately, depends which way you want to look at it. Anyway, we are at Weirtele Dam, and you will think to yourself, well, how did we get here so fast? We motorized quite quickly because Jamie sent us a message saying that she heard impalas, monkeys, and the sorts alarm calling around the dam. So we thought we'd just quickly come into the area and double check what's going on. We're going to turn off on the dam wall here and just have a little listen if we can hear an alarm call and see if we can find what's causing the stir. I have an idea that it's little Kalamba that is causing a little bit of havoc. There's some impalas there, so let's just turn off and have a little listen. Maybe we'll get a scrub hair alarm call. Scrub hair. Don't know where that came from, I'm so sorry. A squirrel alarm calling or something like that. But the impalas there would be the only impalas that we've seen so far in this area. And so we're going to just listen a little bit and just check what's going on. But unfortunately, we were a little far away to get here while the alarm calls were still happening. So whatever it is must have moved and out of sight now of most of the animals that were alarm calling. Problem is the monkeys have gone quiet too. Now, normally monkeys, if they're up and they alarm call, then they kind of alarm call for a lot longer. But there we go. There we go. So she's down here, or he. I wonder if she's not still where Tingana had that kill. But the alarm calls are still there, so we should be able to find whatever is causing it very, very quickly. I mean, it could be Tingana too. But I have a funny feeling Kalamba is who it is. Well, yes, I believe all of you are still laughing at me saying scrub hair alarm calls. One must be careful of a scrub hair alarm call. It's the most authentic one, and the one that you really need to follow the most, because it's reliable, isn't it? Hey, Seb? Seb agrees with me. So Seb is he's also thinking the same things. See, they're looking down here, Seb. So it's exactly where we were the other time. Oh, Miss Muffin Girl, I'm afraid a scrub hair alarm call is only for those that actually see it and are there in person. It's a mystical sound, one that you can't just, make up. It has to be heard to be believed, to be honest. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to replicate the fact that they do alarm call and replicate their call itself. It's only... You guys don't even know where you're looking. You're shouting so much you don't even know. But it looks like down towards where that kill was. Unless they're just smelling these leopards. It's a bit close, Seb. I don't think it's here, bud. Right, let's see. Let's go around a little bit. It's difficult to see because they're also facing in all different directions at the moment. Nothing in those trees, no. So they're all kind of staring back in that direction. I'm trying to look in the trees in case she's hiding up in the tree, because sometimes Kalamba will sit in the tree and the impalas will alarm call, but it's actually her up in the tree itself, and it's difficult to sometimes spot her. But the general sort of consensus is somewhere in this vicinity. You see this one here on the right, Seb, is very, very nervous about something over the top of the rise here. So maybe she's on top or around the back somehow. Do you hear also alarm call for an... I don't think these guys know what they're alarm calling at. I think they are very confused as to what's around. But I thought I heard an alarm call from a nyala as well.
And a monkey as well, Jan.
Yeah. Okay, let's just go up on top here and have a little look around and see if we can find something. It's obviously something's around and causing trouble in this area, and my guess is Kalamba. That's who I would put my money on, but you never know. No, we're not going to be able to go over that, Seb. Okay. Well, these guys are alarming, but they don't really have a specific direction that they're looking. Somewhere here is a predator of some sort that's causing havoc. Like I said, I mean, it could be these impalas might be upset because the smell that is around. Remember, where they're standing now, White lady, and you say you had your headphones on and that impala bark scared you. It's quite loud, isn't it? It's especially when it comes out of nowhere, where you're not expecting it, and all of a sudden they make this sound. It can be a little kind of disorientating, is probably a good word for it. But I like the sound. It always makes me excitable because it means that something is around and worth looking for. So I like when that sound comes out, but it is a much louder sound than one can kind of initially expect. Seb, I'm going to try... No, I don't think there's anything down here. Let's go back and through and just double check where we came from. But there's definitely something is causing a stir. Like I say, I mean, it could be the smell for these guys of where Tingana and Kalamba have been spending time over that kudu kill, and that's causing it, but it might also just be a fact that there is a predator here and we're just driving around it. I mean, the other day with Tingana, we drove past him twice before we spotted him with that kudu kill. It's that thick in here that it's quite tricky to actually see. So I'm trying to just scan around as much as I can. But the way they were shouting was like they had seen it when we were up on the dam wall. So I want to just head through this way. Careful, Seb. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I know you're all panicked, but I need to come this way, I'm afraid. Sorry. All right, good. We're going to try and scratch around here. We're going to see what we can find. In the meantime, though, let's send you back to the Mara and a very, very, very cool bird that Pat has got.
Well, we have come across a couple of secretary birds also scratching around, seeing what they can find right now. I can only assume these two to be a mating pair. And when we first came across them, they were more in this burnt patch rather than the grassy patch. And it really just showed how long their legs actually are. They're huge in proportion. We'll see a good look now as they walk across the road. Look at that, it's almost like they're on stilts. I only ever really see them walking around hunting in the long grass. And so you don't really ever see the bottom half of their legs. Just like a snake eagle's, no feathers there. That is to help protect against nasty animals and dangerous bites. It also reduces the amount of blood flow needed to there because there is a lack of feathers, and so it gives that advantage as well of not being able to have venom into their blood as easily. Very, very cool bird indeed, the secretary bird. Kind of like an eagle of the ground or a snake eagle of the ground. They are known to eat snakes. Sorry, it's just a bit of vehicle related noise there. Kirsten saying she would love to see them catch a snake. So would I. I've seen photos of them with big snakes dangling out of their mouths, but I haven't actually seen it in person. They're usually hunting around for insects in the long grass. And this is the birds area I wanted to show you all, but the other day, like this is the only two birds I've come across now, but the other day it was absolutely teeming with life. There was white cranes all over the place, eagles everywhere. There was, actually saw an eagle feeding and hunting, and actually a serval hunting, trying to hunt some birds. It was just chasing birds around, almost like a cat chasing a toy at home. It was very, very cool to watch. So without the cover of this long grass, it was all easy to see as well. But just today, I guess after the rains, it's kind of flattened all of the burnt material down. It's just like there's a mat of charcoal over the landscape. And yeah, the amount of animals that we hear, I mean, a few days ago we hear to now is barely any at all. I was quite excited to show everyone just how much the habitat and animals changed in, just a couple of days of burning. And there were even a couple of grazers making their way back through, which is what made me kind of come down here, just in case there were lions about. As I said, now looking very barren, very desolate. That will all change soon though. What an epic bird. Very big bird, an insect-eating bird. It will eat it's a carnivore, a bird of prey. And maybe might even eat spiders. I know Orly has been all about the spiders this morning. I think he wants to show you some more.
Look what we have found. Interesting. Bushwalk is on fire again this morning. We have found another beautiful spider. This one is called a garden orb-web spider. It's not the same as the one we saw before, because we can see the stabilimentum, which is the special band that is constructed on the web. You can see that. That zigzag silk there is called a stabilimentum. That's what these garden orb web spider are known of. Amazing, eh? And if you can look at the center of this stabilimentum, that's where the female spider hangs facing down. And they will wait there for a prey. And I'm not sure what this behavior is, but if you know, you can send that on #SafariLive on Twitter, because they have this zigzaggy silk, and I don't know what it's all about. Maybe it attracts, or maybe it chases away some other species, who knows. And if you can look its abdomen, it doesn't have spots, like white spots like a golden orb web spider, but it has colorful bands, I can say, or segments. That's how you will also easily recognize it if you don't say it around its web. And I think I also have a male. We saw a male, David, earlier on, right? Yes, we are saying beautiful web. Yes, this is indeed awesome. You say it? Yeah. A male is somewhere here, and it's small, tiny little male. He also behaves the same as the golden orb web spider. He will be devoured after mating. It's sad, hey? So an interesting thing about these spiders, when they are full, like they ate something, then if something is caught in this web, they will roll that insect or that prey with the silk, and then they will store it somewhere for later consumption. And another interesting thing about spiders, they have these special glands that they produce different silk. Yes, one of our viewers is saying this zigzaggy stabilimentum silk is constructed in the middle of the web to keep other animals away from the web. Like a bird maybe wants to fly between this gap here, it will see this thing, then it will turn away from the nest so that it won't destroy the nest. So I was talking about the glands of the spiders. And spiders have different glands, up to 6 glands, if I'm not forgetting one. Because in my book there are 6, and I've Googled that, and then it told me that there are 7 glands, which I don't know of the 7th one. So we have ampullate glands, we have the aciniform gland, we have tribiliform, we have aggregate, we have flagelliform. Am I forgetting one? Yeah, and piriform gland. I nearly forgot this. A piriform gland. So they produce different silk for different purposes. For example, the tribiliform gland, it's only found in females because they used to produce egg sacs. And then the aciniform gland is found both in male and female. The males, they use it to produce sperm webs. And then the females, they use that gland to produce outer egg sacs. Interesting, hey? And the spiders, that they don't catch their prey with their silk, or that they don't catch their prey using that special gland, they lack that gland. Just like, for example, we have the ground-dwelling spiders, which they ambush their prey. They don't rely on webs or silk. So they lack that aggregate glands. And this spider we're looking at right now, it has an aggregate gland because it wraps around its prey with the aggregate gland silk. This is amazing. Did I make sense there when it comes to glands? Or must I be a little bit slower? Hopefully I made sense. Oh, while we are dwelling on the ground, let's go to Rusty with some aerial stuff.
Wow. From one of the most beautiful cats you get in the reserve to one of the most beautiful birds of prey we get here. Now, I could be fancy and say the Latin name, but I'm actually going to have a go at it. I do excuse my pronunciation of it. Pterothopus equidatus. Now, that translates to marvelous face, no tail. And that is clearly what this bird is. Now, it's not the best angle of what we have here, but if you can catch the sunlight, obviously the morning we generally have a nice beautiful sunrise, but we've got overcast day at the moment. But look at that face. They are absolutely stunning. It is the true words, marvelous face, no tail. Now, not like most eagles where they do have a long tail, where they use for flight and for diving and capturing prey. These eagles do not have much of a tail. They do have a tail, but it's very, very short. They use the thermals in the air, especially on a hot day, and that is how they travel to get from A to B for long distances. So they don't need a tail. And because they're mostly scavengers, although they do hunt occasionally after like small tortoises or hares that don't get out the way very quickly, they don't go diving into prey like most other eagles, where they need the tail as leverage or as a rudder to steer while diving. These eagles do not need this tail. So as you see, if they take off and fly around in thermals, you'll see actually that they do not even have a tail. It doesn't even look like they've got a tail. Their feet actually extend past their tail feathers to show that there is no tail. So yes, for a scientific name that's been translated to marvelous face and no tail, goes to show the true meaning of this bird. It is absolutely gorgeous. Now, we know this is a female. Now, if the male was here earlier, but he flew off on our arrival, but that white indication on the wings clearly shows it being female. The male does not have that visible white while perched. And as they fly, they're often flying together or perching together, and then you can see a clear indication between both of them. Now, generally the females are much larger or larger than the males, and that is mostly with the birds of prey. Doesn't matter what size they are. Now, you can even see the size of its feet. When you go to an eagle, the talons, now they need a lot of the talons to kill their prey. Laura, I couldn't agree with you more. She says that they look so regal. I agree. If you can get up close with them, I had a privilege of working at a wildlife orphanage where I end up looking after some that have been hit by cars. Just orphanage, it's a rehabilitation center, and I got to look after the bird side of it. And there was a couple of battlers in there, and I looked after two for a good year, and I became very close with them. And if you could see them talking to each other when they do a mating display, it is absolutely beautiful, and the call they make. Now, there's not one bird book I've seen that actually has all their calls in there. They've got one particular call that's on both the bird books, on all the apps that we get. But when you actually watch them closely, day in and day out, you actually they actually do have a variety of different calls. And when they are together and they are having this display, it's very beautiful, very regal. Now we know these couple quite well. There was a third wheel attached to them a few days ago, but we cannot see them today. This is obviously the female, and there was two males. One was definitely her partner. The other one, we're not too sure why it was hanging around. Whether or not it is still in the area, we're not too sure. It's just we have not seen it today. Now the nest is behind us. We cannot show you at the moment at the angle we're at. So they are seasonal breeders. Whether they breed all year round, I am not too sure, or if they have a peak season, which is fair enough around about now where there is a lot of food. Food is in abundance, but the grass is slowly thinning out, which helps them. But because they are mostly scavengers, they are often one of the first birds at a kill site. If they are there, if the vulture is there or a tawny eagle is there, then it is a clear indication of something dead being around. But because the nest is not too far away from here, it shows that these ones, I don't think there's anything dead around here. It just means they're roosting close to where the nest is. And because it's an overcast day, it's very hard for them to travel large distances because they need that heat, they need those thermals to get around. They are I want to say very clumsy birds, but they need a lot of space to take off. They're very loud, very, I don't know what you may call it. They seem very clumsy when they're when they land on the ground. They have to take off again in very quick bursts. They've got these very sharp wing beats, and it's very loud, and they eventually get up into the air. So they're not as agile as their counterparts or the other eagles that are out there. Yeah, I absolutely love them. Kurpal, yes, some birds do end up breaking their wings either through hunting. Sadly, it's more often through power lines are a big threat to especially these kind of birds, battlers, because they use the power lines as roosting spots and they end up flying into the wire. Or, yeah, sadly, electrocution is one of the biggest killers because their wingspan is very large and they happen to touch both wires, which end up in a very horrible death. But yes, birds that do end up breaking their wings, it's generally through either vehicle accidents or through hunting or actually through another predator or fighting. Two males can actually cause quite a bit of damage to each other, but it's not often the case, as most birds of prey pair for life. So they don't need to fight for another female. So once they've established a partner, that's pretty much them set, unless the partner dies and then they have to battle for another one or another one comes along. I've never seen a territorial fight between two birds of prey. I've always ever seen, but doesn't mean it does not happen. It just means that most of them either sort them out as soon as they reach maturity. Now, if you can see the brown on the back of the neck there. Now, young juvenile battlers take 7 to 8 years to mature into this color form. Otherwise, the youngsters look like a very mottled brown color. If you see them in the in-between stage, they look very ugly and can be quite hard to identify at a distance. Obviously, over time and experience, we can easily pick up a battler in flight from a great distance, even at a perch, since they have a very particular look to them, even if they are silhouetted. They are quite an obvious sight. Sometimes you do get them confused with snake eagles, with that big head, but as soon as they move around a little bit, it's quite a clear indication of who they are. And it's often the case, because they've got this very uneasy wing beat to them, they do often perch on dead trees as that. So that's an easy drop off and take off with that. And it's just easy accessible or easy access to the surroundings. Visual access to the surroundings. Now, they are one of the biggest threats to baby tortoises. I'm sure the viewers out here might know, who are watching or have seen in the past, we do get two different types of tortoise here. The leopard tortoise, for example, they at the beginning of the rains end up, the eggs hatch, and you get all these, I actually don't know what a baby tortoise is called. Let's say a hatchling, and they break out the soil, and battler eagles are often one of the cases where the shell is very soft and it's actually a perfect little snack-sized meal. Now, tortoises that have been killed by hyenas or hit by a car become quite a high food source for battlers. But having, like I said, the rorqual is one of the biggest damages to the population of battlers, and having to scavenge on the ground for these road kills, as they say, for the tortoise that's been hit by a car, they end up being on the road, also being hit by a car. So it's a vicious cycle, and it does happen. As much as we enforce safety and please slow down or please watch out what's on the roads, you can't ask somebody to swerve a car for a bird of prey on the road. So it's one of these hard things you just have to play, and just hopefully you're just not driving too fast that you can able to get around them. So, there's the partner. The partner just flew around just briefly for a second. Might come back and land. But while we keep a close eye on her, we're going to go over to Tristan.
Well, very interesting birds are bateliers. I thoroughly enjoy them. I think they're very, very pretty and quite an incredible species in many respects. And as Rusty says, very important to drive slowly. It's why we're driving slowly right now. We're trying to see where this leopard could be, but we've had no luck. We've got no tracks. I say leopard because I'm pretty sure it's Tlalamba. In fact, I would be shocked if who's been causing the stir is not Tlalamba, because last night I was at Inga's and the impalas went crazy in the exact same spot. And we know the likes of Tingana would not really be there if he didn't have a kill. So I'm pretty sure it's our little girl Tlalamba that is just kind of spending her time messing about in the drainage there, and she might just be curled up in a thicket or something, and that's why we've driven past her. But I can't find any tracks coming out of that area to say that she is moved away. Shonen, do leopards ever give warning calls? No, not really. I mean, they saw as a territorial call, and then they will, in terms of warnings, is generally to show teeth and to flick the tail. So then the tail goes like this, and then they show their teeth and they hiss and growl. That's more warning signs from a leopard. They don't have a specific call that they make when they're upset. It's more a sort of visible display of teeth and claws and, you know, irritation in that they'll kind of growl and like they'll make that hissing sound. And that's their sort of warning that they're making to anybody. But they don't make a warning call that's loud enough for us to hear unless you're right there wherever that animal may be. And the reason why they would be like that is because generally you must remember that the cats, when they are confronted with something, and I include cheetah and lion in this as well, when they're confronted with something that they're nervous about and that they are a bit sort of wary of, like people, or they typically will try and hide first. So they'll try and back their camouflage, and they'll try and kind of get themselves into a thicket and drop themselves as low as possible in order to not attract attention to themselves. If they were to let out a warning call, it's going to make it much easier for people to find them, or something like an elephant, or, you know, in cheetah's case, lions, or any of those kind of things. So better for them to stay as quiet as possible and try and hide, and then only when something is very, very close and they've been spotted do they then start to try and kind of warn off and try and push that animal away that is threatening them. And that's how they do that, is obviously by growling and hissing and making themselves look as big as possible and making a very visual display that they're unhappy and that they're going to potentially attack if they are pushed any further. So warning calls are not an ideal thing because it attracts attention to you more than anything else. The reason why the prey animals do an alarm call or a warning call is because they're trying to tell everybody, I've seen something, all look this way. And so everyone will then look, and they can then deter that predator from actually stalking and hunting them. So it makes much more sense for them to be able to do it than for, you know, a predator that's trying to stay concealed and hidden in order to ambush and attack potential prey animals. So that's why there's really no kind of existence of a warning call in a predator's world. Except in wild dogs, funny enough. So wild dogs have a warning bark that they make, which is again a signal to the rest of the pack that they've spotted something that is of danger. So wild dogs will bark, and then the rest of the pack will all stand up and they know there's something very dangerous nearby. And that's probably brought about by the fact that they are so sociable and that they live in packs. You know, lions, while they are pride animals, a lot of the time you will find males kind of cruising around on their own, and you'll find sometimes females on their own when they have cubs and those kind of things. So it's not here. The Nyala are here, Seb. I wonder. I'm sure I heard Nyala barking earlier. I wonder if she doesn't have a kill somewhere here and she's been in this area and she went for water and came back this way. And that's why last night we heard the alarm calls. I'm going to scratch around here a little bit more and just have a bit of a check. In the meantime, though, let's send you back across to Wally and see how his walk is going.
Today it's a Spidey Sunday, if I can call it that way. We have interesting thing happening here. We are sitting on the ground with David because of these two spiders we saw earlier on. So this spider we're looking at right now, I think, and we looked at it in a book with David, we agreed with the crowned nursery web spider. It was so difficult to look for one because these things, they are so plenty. And I don't think this book I have here, it has all the spiders you can find in the southern Africa. So the spider we're looking at right now, it's both active during the day and active during the night. And it also an arenomorph. Arenomorph spiders are these spiders that construct webs, and they are the spiders that we normally see on daily basis. And we also have the megalomorphs. Those are the ground-dwelling spiders. For example, a baboon spider, that they dig holes. And if you can go on the other spider, David, that one looks so confusing. So if you have any clue what this might be, please send that to #SafariLive on Twitter, because we've paged through the book and we were not successful. Oh, what a nice sighting to start the bushwalk with. Yeah, the bushwalk has been crazy this morning. We had nice sightings, more spiders, more spiders. You can see the abdomen, it has a whitish color, brown and black. So if you're good with spiders, David said it's moving. If you're good with spiders, or you know your spiders very well. Oh, nice. It has this yellow and brown legs. Oh, nice one. Yeah, this one, it's irrecognizable. Gizmo is saying, imagine this thing falling on you, crawling on your leg. Yeah, that will be very scary. And some people are like, they have phobia of spiders, and they do look creepy, but for me, they look cool. And you can see the spider, it can maneuver so quick. But some insects are caught in their silk or web. It is because they apply this wax on the tip of their leg so that they can maneuver easily. And that's interesting. But I don't know how they apply that wax. So maybe there's the special glands there that produces that certain wax. Do you recognize the spider or not? Because at first I thought it was a James Richard is saying this might be a hairy silk spider. Let me look that in my book. Hairy silk spider. Filled. Oh, filled. Sorry about that, James Richard. Yeah, it might be hairy silk spider. Let me look, because there are a lot of these spiders and they all look different. Oh, this is so cool. And they produce this silk using their spinnerets. Spinnerets is this part that can say it's an anal part. Yes, that's where they produce their silk. That's why there are these spiders that they produce silk while walking, and these spiders that they can produce silk for particular reason. They won't produce silk while they're walking, but if something bothers them, then they will produce it. And I was watching a video on YouTube a week ago, spiders. There's this guy who's making some cloth out of this spider webs. Yeah, that was interesting to watch. So let's leave our colorful spider. Hopefully we'll find who this fella is. But for now, let's go to Rusty.
So we left the lovely Berteleur roosting there, but we did pass the male about 5 minutes later, and he was carrying nesting material. So whether or not why he was coming back for her every now and again, we're not too sure, but when we passed him, he had a big olive branch, so to speak, going back to the nesting site. So it'll be interesting. Over the next few weeks, we will hopefully see them sitting on that nest and keep a close eye on them and see what comes about. Battlers like that do nest quite high in most. The other one's nesting in a marula tree. It was a marula tree, right? Didn't quite pay much attention. It was a knobthorn. Quite a large tree, and it's at a fork. So it is a bit out. We can see the nest, but we can't see exactly what's in the nest. But obviously we'll see them sitting there, and we'll follow them up in the next few days. It's right next to the road, so we'll keep an eye on them. It will always be great to see the whole stage of when the chick hatches and growing up in the nest. So Dix, I was talking about rehabilitation earlier, and the question coming through is whether they bond when you spend so much time with them to certain people. The answer to that is yes. I did find that a lot of the birds of prey I was working with knew exactly who I was within a month of feeding them. Especially the wounded ones, where they are often helped to move around a lot. They end up being very attached to you, and especially when it comes to food time, they knew exactly my voice, my pace of walk, and as soon as I get even close to it, even if it's not a time when they're supposed to be fed, they end up following you up and down the fence line, waiting for you to come in. And even we had one jackal buzzard that ended up knowing exactly who they liked and who they did not like. I could walk in there, it was fine, but if somebody who they did not know walked in there, they ended up attacking from behind. So they do get very protective, and even one would say quite jealous of other people around. So birds are like that. If people have parrots, you end up like that. Parrots choose the people they like, even if I'm all against the pet trade, but there are a lot of parrots around. A lot of people have pets. So birds, you can get a parrot and it might not even like you, and might like a friend that walks in one day and end up go with a friend. So birds of prey become very much like that, where they choose who they like and who they don't like, and they do end up very close to you. I couldn't find the right word for that. So We're heading to one of the larger dams on the corner of our reserve called Buffelshoek. A lot of you may know where that is. There's been some activity of leopard around there. We are trying to follow up to see if Tingana is moving around that area. There was quite a bit of alarm calling going on there and some vultures seen in the area. Whether or not one of the females, the Buffelshoek skittish female that hangs around there, might have made a kill, or at least lured Tingana in for mating. But hey, we've had a brilliant sighting with a leopard this morning. Another one won't hurt anybody, especially me. So, that is the plan so far, but I will take anything right now, anything that comes. The leopard pretty much made my day. So anything that comes now, I'll be happy with. The battlers, like I said, we're going to follow them up in the next few weeks. They've got the nest right next to the road. So be it. It's always, I think that's the greatest thing about being where we are. We're able to have this interaction and be able to follow up on them, especially the battlers. It's like that stage to stage. If something happens to the nest, we know about it. It's not often, well, we're often on that road. We go past it nearly every second or third day. We'll keep a close eye out. And those who are very interested, in birds of prey, because there's that eagle cam in the States, apparently, with the bald eagles, where they've got this nest cam. And it's amazing how addicted you get to watching birds of prey and just the interaction and the chicks. And it's like yes or no if this chick is going to survive. So we have a different version, but we'll keep a close eye on that nest. Well, while we're looking for the spotted cats in the other part of the reserve, we're going to link over to Tristan, who's is also looking for tracks.
Well, yes. If only we were having any sort of success, life would be good, but we are being pulled around from pillar to post by alarm-calling animals. So we've had more impalas alarm calling, more nyala alarm calling, squirrels alarm calling, Franklin's alarm calling, and we've been doing circles around them and finding all of them, and they're all staring, but we can't spot anything. We've been going around in circles trying to figure out where this cat is. So she's here somewhere, and she's just obviously moving around, and we just keep missing her somehow. But I say she because I haven't even seen a track, and I doubt that it's Tingana. The way it's moving around screams Kalamba. It seems like just kind of milling about and going here, then going there, and then just doing its own thing. Michael, I don't think so, to be honest with you. I think if that skittish male is around, then, you know, Kalamba is going to have a bit of a problem on her hands. What's going to be intriguing is to see how far the skittish male goes and what Thandi is doing. And I have a funny feeling Thandi has picked up the scent of this male, and is why she is spending a lot of time going in and out of Little Gowrie. I wonder if she's just not trying to kind of protect her offspring as best as she can, and trying to kind of just keep his attention down that side and kind of keep Kalamba safe on this side of the world. It'll be interesting to see, though. It's certainly going to be an intriguing few months, but no, I don't think she's safe from that male, same as she wouldn't be safe from Hukumuri if he was around as well. So it's going to be interesting in many respects, and I'm not sure. Little Kalamba's going to have to be careful. She's going to have to kind of try and stay in the core of her mom's territory for now. Remember, she's still young. She's only 17 months old, 16 and a half, 17 months old. And she's still little. So when she gets to sort of 2.5 years, then we can start breathing a little bit easier. Most males, when they come across a female of that size, are going to be far more kind of, well, they're going to see her as a potential mating option. But when she's still small like this, and I mean, don't forget, we've seen her with Thandi and seen tracks of the two of them still together, that males might get a little bit kind of bent out of shape and start to, you know, try and kind of kill her to bring Thandi into estrus if Thandi's not in estrus. So it's going to be an interesting kind of process that's going to take place, and whether or not it all works out, I'm not quite sure. But this cat has got to be somewhere here. This is the area where all the alarm calls have been happening. So down in the drainage and then back towards sort of where we just came from. There's been Nyala's shouting, Impala's shouting. Seb, let's go back one more time and go up Gari Cut Line a bit and see if we maybe get lucky. But I still haven't seen a track, which is what's worrying me. I mean, it's not great light for tracking, but we should see her footprints easily on this road. This road is nice and big and broad and has, you know, nice sandy soil, so it should be much easier. Chris, why exactly would the skittish male be around this area? Well, simply because he wants to take the territory. It's a young male that's expanding and trying to, you know, take an area of his own, much like Kukumuri, much like Tingana. So males, leopards' drive is to dominate, mark territory and mate and find food. And so, you know, he's just pushing to try and find his own space. Where he's come from is obviously no one really knows. It would be nice if we could start giving him some sort of an identity rather than just skittish male all the time, because every leopard that comes through here that is not relaxed and not known is a skittish male. So, I mean, where he comes from, I don't know, but he's essentially just searching out the territory and trying to establish himself as a dominant individual. It's just not ideal that he is shy, because it's going to make our work very difficult, particularly if he happens to overthrow Tingana. It's going to make life very, very, very difficult for us. Now, the squirrel was alarm calling here. We had an impala shouting over there. We had a nyala barking on this side. So, I mean, theoretically, this little leopard could be anywhere. Klolamba, where are you? And I've checked the mud wallows here, so she didn't go drink. She's not lying in that area. I was hoping that we'd see her like sitting in a tree or on a mound or something, but that's obviously too good to be true, so we haven't found that yet. We're going to keep searching. Maybe we'll get lucky. In the meantime, though, let's send you back up to Pat in the Mara.
Well, we've just come across a troop of olive baboons all crossing the road in front of me here. So where I am is kind of area I haven't really come before, so I did have a bit of a look around in Owino territory, and just yeah, I wasn't really picking up on a whole lot, and so I thought, well, I've been driving the same roads a lot lately, and it's not really, I mean, I'm seeing a lot, but I just thought I would switch it up while there is not much happening around there this morning. Some of the other guides I spoke to didn't really have any leads or anything to go off, so I thought, well, why not try somewhere new and just see what happens. So James on the back has said that he has seen leopards and lions down this way. So I thought I'll just check it out. Probably will bring us around to the river as well. So you watch this troop of Papio anubis. They seem pretty settled through here. There's also a hyena amongst them on the left-hand side. It's pretty interesting, almost as if it is one of them. I'm not sure what that crate-looking thing is there in the background, but perhaps it's what has attracted all of these baboons. And where did that hyena go? It's almost as if it heard its name. It was just sitting there, almost as if it was one of those. Anyway, continuing on, they have now all crossed the road. Just going to poke around this morning. So I do apologise, I have been a bit out of action this morning. There was just a few problems with the gremlins, but it sounds like it's all happening down in Juma anyway, which has been nice. Good to hear all of... Oh, okay, so it looks like this seems to be a no-through road, okay? So I won't go... Cursor, not sure if I got that right. Aren't baboons known for being naughty? Yes, they are. They are a troop of them that hangs out outside the front of our camp. But as far as I know, they never actually come into our camp. Well, I haven't at least seen it or really heard of it. They tend to stick away and respect our private space, which is very nice. But yes, they can be very, very naughty. I know in Juma they caused a bit of a problem over at one of the places away from camp where some of our staff stayed, called Ingers, where they were actually breaking bits off doors so they could get into the houses and get into the food. So they're very wretched little rascals. So, hello. But very cool. So I don't really have any real updates on things either. Yeah, there's not much known about what's happening with the prides at the moment, so hopefully we find out more as the morning progresses. But in the meantime, let's go back down and see Rusty.
So, for all the viewers, we can take a lucky guess of who we are watching. It's Scuba Steve and Snorkeling Sarah. And they are in their normal position. We did pass one of their, I'm pretty sure it was Sarah, that defecated on the side of the road about 1 kilometer away from here. They are definitely covering a bit of ground, or they did cover a bit of ground last night. And it's a clear indication that actually something does go happen at night. Generally, hippos do move off and go find their best restaurants as soon as the sun goes down. But as winter starts setting in and the nights are cooler and the grazing gets less and less, they spend longer and longer hours away from the dam. This is to obviously fill up and try preserve any bit of fat or any form of food they can find, especially in winter. Now there is a lot of grazing around, so I don't think we'll have a problem with that, but this dam is drying up very, very quickly. Luma, I couldn't agree anymore. She says watching these hippos in this watering hole is very relaxing. That is definitely, I agree with that 100%. If you can just pull up a chair, cooler box, or actually I would love a cup of coffee right now and just watch them. It is very relaxing. They don't do much during the days. Obviously if there's a lot more of them and there's more interaction, if the female's in season, then the bull's a bit more flustered. But just two of them is just a very relaxing feeling, just watching them go up and down. They can spend 5 minutes easily underwater, then come back up on their own time. There's literally not much else you can do. Now, if there is a such thing as an afterlife and you get to choose to come back at whatever you would like, I am definitely going to put my hand up for a hippo. And then look at that. That is your daily life, living in water. When it's sunny, choose to go out and sunbathe, up to you. Doesn't matter how large you are, you're never judged. The larger you are, the healthier you are. I mean, that's a brilliant life, absolute fantastic life. What more could you want? And at night, you go out to your favorite restaurants. Yeah, sometimes your favorite restaurant's a lot further away and all the other. Gizmo, why are the hippo's ears so small? I don't know the direct answer to that. I'm going for the reason that because they live in water, being so small allows them to be able to, when they do go under, you'll see them slowly fold them back to be able to shut them so no water goes into the ears. So that is probably one of the main reasons. They do have a very good hearing. So all their senses that are exposed above the water here is what they rely on, their eyesight, sense of smell and hearing. So why they are so small for such a big animal, I'm guessing it's from the reason from being able to shut them quickly and go underwater. But then again, you get elephants that have got massive ears but a very small ear hole, but that's for cooling. But when they go underwater, I don't know how they close the ears and stop the water from going down their eardrums. I certainly cannot do it, especially if I'm in the ocean. I get tossed about in a wave. I end up spending half an hour trying to get the water out my ears. Whether these, I'm sure they have adapted a way of shutting the water, or keeping the water out of their ears. So keeping them small, well, not keeping them small, but the reason why they are small could be that. If any of you do know the reason why hippos have small ears, please write it down on the YouTube chat. We'll be happy to read it out later or find out the correct terms, the reasons. D. Lionheart. That could be one of the reasons why they don't need to listen for predators. But believe it or not, hippos do get predated on by lions, especially wounded ones, old ones, young ones. I have seen a hippo being almost taken down by a pride of lions, but it did run into the water with about 8 lions attached to it, but all the lions came off by the time it got deep enough. So yes, lions do have a lot of patience when it comes to hunting hippos, and they have to be very careful. So yes, going back to the question, they do have very good hearing. The ears don't really mean that they don't have good hearing. They do need the ears. They do have very good hearing, and they do need to watch out, especially with communication with each other, as well as what's around. Listen to what's about. So nobody's actually asked them or done a complete study of dissecting an ear that I know of to see how well they actually hear. But having Laura Moore, yeah, it's like what we said earlier. It could be one of the reasons why her reasoning was because to keep the water out. I think I'm going to go with that one. It could be because, yeah, as I was saying earlier, as they go down, the ears go back, and it might mean, yeah, they live most of the time in water. It's to stop water from going in them. Could be. We have a at this time of the year, especially as we're going into the drier parts of this drier parts of the year, it becomes heaven for a lot of birds, especially this grey heron. I'm surprised there's actually not more birds hanging around here, especially the storks, especially the saddle-billed stork, the woolly-necked storks. This time of the year becomes time of plenty for them because the water gets more and more concentrated, and that helps with a lot of, let's say, tadpoles, fish, terrapins. Whoop, almost got lucky there. What did it catch? I just need to, we can't zoom in any closer. I need to check with my binos.
Washing it off now.
We had our first live kill.
It's a frog.
It looks like a frog, I agree.
Huh.
Yep, there we go. So as I was talking about, as the water gets less and less, a lot of the creatures that live in the water becomes more concentrated, and then it makes it easier pickings. Now, I was just discussing with James earlier, like, there's normally catfish that live in dams like this, but we've had very bad 4 or 5 years of drought where the dams haven't really replenished enough for a lot of these fish to return. Now, obviously, if this dam overflows and flows into larger rivers, then catfish will move back up into these areas, but that hasn't happened in many years. Generally, catfish, if nobody knows what catfish are, we call them barbel, and in other parts of the world they're known as catfish. They do have this ability to breathe air. They come up and, do they have lungs or form of lungs? It's a form of a lung. So they do come up and grab big gulps of air from the surface. Now they have this ability, as soon as the water dries up and there's mud, a lot of them do die, but they end up like mushing themselves quite deep into the clay, and then the clay dries up and seals them in, and they kind of like go into like an estivate stage where they almost like shed the outer skin, and they try keep clay has the ability of actually especially if it's quite a thick layer of clay, has the ability to stay quite damp underneath for longer periods. So these fish end up going underneath a good like half a meter, up to a meter in some cases, because they go down with the water level. And then they stay there until the next rains. But sadly, we've had a very bad drought, so a lot of these dams did not replenish enough. And the catfish, no, they can go under the ground for apparently up to 2 years, but I'm not 100%, haven't confirmed that. But they can live underground for a long time, waiting for the rains to come back. And that is when the dams do fill up again, then they dig themselves up, and the whole cycle starts all over again. And that is how the dams, even though they do dry out and they don't overflow, you come back and it's like you still see fish in there. Like, how? This was dry 2 weeks ago. That is just the catfish. There won't be many other fish around in there. It'll just be mostly the catfish. But at this time, you'll see these catfish come up for air, but we haven't seen any of them around at the moment. So that is what most of these birds come for, is when the dams start to dry up, then the birds move in and it's easy pickings. But with the catfish have not been seen, a lot of these birds will rely on catching frogs and smaller terrapins that are exposed, and any other creatures that rely on water sources to survive or live in. Well, okay, well, while we're keeping an eye on them, we're going to link you over to Orly on Bushwalk.
Yes, we have some creepy crawlies around here. This is a tick that was on David's leg. He removed it, and then he said, "No, all you must film this." David doesn't want to donate some blood. This tick, it looks way different than a rhino tick. The way it looks different. I don't know what this species is. I have a friend here. David, I'm still looking at the tick. Okay, nice one. So on our way, we saw these diggings of an ant lion. So what happened was, I think it was still digging because we caught it while it was doing it. Oh, just want to view there. Okay, David said he wants to take a good view of that tick that wanted to suck his blood. It looks so colorful. Has these colorful yellow and brown legs, David? Yeah. Yeah, that's the viewers are saying that. And that looks small. It can grow very big. What they do is they sit still, hang on these grasses and waiting for an animal to pass by so that they will catch a lift while you're passing. So that's what they normally do, and then they will suck blood from an animal or a human being, then they will get fat, and then they drop. So what we have here is this. Oh, he's digging himself down, David, see now. It was an ant lion. He was just out here. So I don't know whether I have to take this guy out, but I don't think that's a good idea. He's safe wherever he is. He's just right in here. You can see here, he just went in here. It's an ant lion. And an interesting thing about an ant lion, when it walks backwards. It doesn't go forward. You know why? Easy stuff. An ant lion is like this. Let's make a drawing. Davicido. Ant lion drawing is like this. It has this big body like this, and a small head, and these two antenna-like things. They used to grab prey, and then that's why it can't walk like It's another spider. Oh, another spider here. Then that's why they walk backwards. So we have a guy who's crossing from the other side to the other side of the road. He's migrating. She's migrating, I think. Oh, cute spider here. It's a black spider, black one. Ooh. And look at the eyes. Are those eyes, David? Nice one. Yeah, some creepy crawlies this morning. Yeah. So it's called an ant lion. That one we nearly saw, because it feeds on other insects. So it's a lion. So this spider here, who are you? It's black with some brownish patches, and yeah, this is pretty amazing. Do you know of this spider? I really don't know of this spider. Whew. Yeah. So, this sporty guy, by the name of, I don't know, he was walking to his destination. I don't know where he's going. But for now, let's go to the leopard whisperer, Tristan.
Well, nice that there's been lots of spiders around, and good that we cleaned David of ticks. No one likes a tick in camp. So I'm glad that David has now been cleansed of the tick that was on him. Anyway, we have had zero success. Unlike Ollie, we have found nothing to write home about, other than a whole bunch of demented animals that have shouted in every direction, but have not given us anything to work with really that's concrete. So it's just lots of alarm calls, but no one seems to know which way they're looking. Because we had impalas just now, and there were four of them, hey, Seb? 4 or 5. And they were all looking in different directions and all alarming. So I think maybe it's something on the air that they're smelling more than they're seeing, or those particular ones. And so now we're doing just bigger loops in case we are way away from where this... Exactly, they are practicing for April Fools. You're right, Kirsty. I should have thought of that. They're in training, so tomorrow we don't respond to alarm calls. Also, I'm curious to know where Trishala had that skittish male, because maybe it's him that's moving around, and he hears the car coming, and then he just kind of sneaks off and lies down, and then we move, and then he moves, and then he gets seen, if possible. But I still think it's Klalamba. That's my gut feel, that she's just doing what she does best, which is mill around, then lie down for a while, then gets bored, and then she moves, and then she gets seen, and then she lies down again. So, I think it's in all likelihood is her, but you never know. So we're still trying, roughly. I mean, we're kind of big circle now. We're right on the sort of northern side of, extreme north of where we would expect her to have been. There's no sign of any footprints anywhere, so either she's lying down and just taking it easy, or she's walking and is far from where we are now, given how long these alarm calls have been going for. The interesting thing, though, is that there's no water anymore. So, I mean, here is a prime example. This is a pan that little Klalamba was drinking out of quite a bit this summer on Hyena Road. And you can see it's completely dry now. So there's no water at any of these pans. And between the ellies and the various animals, they've kind of mud wallowed and sprayed and gotten rid of most of the mud that there was, or remaining water that there was. And so leopards are going to be coming a lot more kind of frequently to the likes of Twin Dams, Buffelshoek Dam, Treehouse, and then obviously the 2 dams at the camp, so Gallego and Weetelapan, and as well as Gowrie Dam. So, it's going to make life a lot easier for us if it doesn't rain. Those animals are going to have to go to those water points, because there really is very little other water around. I mean, there's still a little bit at Chelapan and a bit at those mud wallows south of that, but other than that, really most of them have dried up now, which is in some ways quite worrying, given that we're in March and most of them should be at their fullest by now. It's going to be a difficult year, I think, for the animals if we don't get more rain. not from a food point of view, but from a water point of view, is going to be quite tough. So it'll be interesting to see if we get another leopard that decides to be like Osana and hang around at the camp waterholes. I would suspect that it is going to happen, especially the likes of little Klalamba. I wouldn't be surprised she ends up being in that area and hanging about there. It's going to be the best place for her to grow up and find the food that she needs, as well as water in the winter time. And if Tundi is still territorially dominant, that should lie within Tundi's sort of area, so she should be okay to kind of stay there. Of course, this, like I said, the skittish male will also be a big determining factor into what kind of happens over the next year or so, and also what Tingana's response is to all of this. But hopefully the skittish male, the more we kind of see him and the more we kind of spend time, and if he gets a few kills, then maybe we can calm him down. And so while we mull that over and decide whether or not it's a good thing that he's around, let's send you up to Pat, who's, I think, just bumbling in the mire.
Alright, so I know a few of you are wondering about what happened with Lauren's sighting the other day with the giraffe. Another sad sighting out here in the Mara. But she updated me last night. I haven't been around camp for the last day and a bit. And so it may not seem like a long time frame, but actually you feel pretty out of the loop just after 24 hours of not being around work. And she last updated me by saying that the mother was still there after AM drive yesterday, which is quite sad. So I have actually come up, I'm not exactly sure where the poor baby giraffe was left, but I've just come up to the area that I've been told, and I'm just having a look around now to see if I can pick up back on it. It is a no off-roading zone, which should narrow down the options a little bit, because if we have to follow roads and they were able to see it, then it must be from a road somewhere around here. But where exactly, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's a very sad story to hear. Baby giraffe didn't make it, and then mother just stayed. But yeah, I'm now quite curious myself as well as to how long the giraffe is actually staying for. I couldn't imagine it would still be around this morning. If so, it would be crushing, absolutely devastating stuff. Maybe out here. Just trying to follow what looks, well, you know, we usually track animals based on fresh tracks. Now I'm trying to track using the vehicles, just seeing which is the freshest tracks, the freshest tyre tracks along some of these places, because sometimes that can actually lead you to where a sighting has been. Is what helped us locate, if anyone remembers, when we had two cheetah that then got harassed off a kill by some black-backed jackals, and then hyenas came in to find that sighting. We actually helped pinpoint the location just by following the more recently used tracks, or what seemed to be more recently used. So we are kind of more south of where I usually go, especially when I'm checking for the Owinos, kind of near a lodge called Serena. It's a very nice lodge up this way, so that's about where I am looking. Well, as I keep looking, I'm going to go to Bushwalk with something interesting.
Oh, look what we have. I promise that I will come back and check here often and see the transformation of these chicks. Look how quick they are growing. A day before yesterday morning I was here and they were all yellow, but now they are transforming. You can see they're starting to grow bigger and blacker because they're starting to develop feathers now. Yes, this is amazing. This simply means they are very safe because this branch is just overhanging down. It's a fallen tree. But they are not that up. But because of they are well camouflaged and well fed and well protected, I think they will survive, and I hope they will survive. So I'll be coming here in 2 days' time from now, if I get a chance to, and see the progress of this, so that we can do the counting and how long it takes for them to have proper feathers and also flying feathers, and when do they start flying. David, Rexon is calling us. I think there's something here. I think we have a head of something. Rexon. Okay, Rexon is calling us. I don't know what is it. We left the chicks. Oh, elephants. Oh, we have Alice there. Elephant. Oh, elephant. They are coming right at us.
Let's go to the termite.
Okay, Rexon is saying we must go to the termite mound because I think they are coming this way. They are suspecting our presence, but I'm not sure whether they can spot us or not because we are covered very nicely here. So Rexon says we must just keep a good distance. It's a breeding herd and they are young ones. Do you like that? So we are moving away from the herd. So we're going to find some termite mound for a good vantage point. Remember, they might get pissed off if they have these little kids or little babies in their head. So we need to respect that, give some good distance. Oh. There's no termite mound nearby here or there. We have a termite mound. But even if there was no termite mound, it's a good distance now. Because they are about, I can say 100 meters away from us now. So while we get to our termite mound there, let's go to Tristan with an owl.
Well, we followed up on some alarm calls, which led us to two Varose eagle owls, not Tlalamba. We also found tracks for Tlalamba, who's been playing a game with us and been moving around. She dropped into this drainage as well, but the alarm calls are not for her. They were the squirrels, I think, were for these guys. I'm going to try to see if we can find where they've gone. Both owls have flown off. One went quite far behind us, well, now behind us. The other one landed here somewhere. So I'm just going to try and see. Where did it land? Seb, it was somewhere here. There it goes. Okay, so let's see if it'll land. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit forward for Seb to get a view of it. I think they're in that gap, Seb. Underneath, let's see. Get rid of that. To your right, you can see where the birds are mobbing and kind of ducking and sort of diving down a little bit is for me. Yeah, that main nose slightly up. little bit down.
There she is.
Yeah, there she is. There we can see her feathers behind all of the trees. So it's a Verreaux's eagle owl, which is our largest owl that is in this area. And like I said, they do cause a lot of alarm calls to take place. They are predatory of a number of birds and squirrels and things like that. And obviously when we had the tracks, we thought maybe, just maybe, little Kalamba was somewhere in here, because her tracks do come down into this drainage, and then obviously it wasn't her. It's just the owls that were sitting here. But it's nice that there were two of them. It's a pity that they both were a little bit shy and flew off. It would have been nice to have had the two. The one was right out in the open, beautiful, beautiful sighting just now, and then unfortunately moved. Seb, I just want to try to go forward for you, because you might get a gap where you can actually see her face, or his face. It's difficult to know whether it's male or female at this point. But how about there, Seb? No, don't fly. So it's kind of sitting in a tree quite far from us. Is it there somewhere? There we go. Straight in the middle, Seb. Nice. It's a beautiful, beautiful bird. They're one that has very good camouflage. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to see that unless it moved around too much. But you'll notice it's looking around. It's trying to figure out a place where it can go and fly to land, where the birds will stop alarm calling. And listen to the noise of all the birds. I'm going to keep quiet for a bit. Isn't that cool? So you've got go-away birds calling, you've got hornbills, you've got babblers, you've got everybody making lots and lots of noise, because they know that this owl is a threat to their life's existence. And so rather than being eaten, they'll make a lot of noise to tell everybody that it's around. And there you can see those pink eyelids, which are diagnostic on this particular bird. Also its size, it is massive. Oh, look at that. Isn't that a nice sighting? That's as good as it gets when it comes to seeing Verreaux's eagle owls, particularly during the day. At night you get quite a few of them, but during the day it's not so easy to find them. Very, very cool. Hello. There you can see the birds also. A little southern black tit that's mobbing it and close to it, and you'll find lots of birds are going to come in and try and kind of dive bomb it and try and chase it away until they can't see it anymore. And this poor owl is going to just try and find somewhere where it can sit in the canopy of a tree and just camouflage and then have a really good nap, because obviously it has been very busy last night. It would have been hunting and looking for all kinds of food items, and so daytime is rest time for these guys. They like to take it easy during the course of the day. And incredible hunters. They hunt quite a wide variety of food. We obviously know that they go after birds and things, and their main sort of birds that they target are things like francolins and guinea fowl, but they will also target things like jennets. It's a common kill for these guys. They go after them. They'll even get little baby civets. So anything that's sort of small enough for them to overpower. Scrub hares is also a big one that they will consume. It's pretty incredible that they're able to kind of overpower those predators and bring them down. Beautiful, beautiful bird. Isn't that cool? Landed in the perfect spot for us to be able to see it. So a lot of you are saying it's quite scary looking. I like it. I don't know why. I mean, I have a soft spot for owls. I like owls in general, and this one particularly, just the size of it is incredible. It is a massive, massive owl. To give you an idea, I mean, the Wahlberg's eagles that we see, it's probably, I would say, bigger than that. It's almost the same size as the Batteliers in terms of its overall appearance, which is quite amazing when you think about it. It's a big, big bird, and oh, there's a nice little grey-headed bushshrike next to it. It gives you an idea of size as well. But from drab and grey to the beautiful, beautiful colours of the grey-headed bushshrike, which Kirsty, obviously because it's an 8-second delay, has just noticed. But how cool is that? Two of our more shy birds that we don't see very often, but hear quite often, sitting side by side. That is so cool. Awesome. We might not have found little Kalamba, but this has been a very special sighting. And you can see why the grey-headed bushshrikes are tough to find too. They also blend in really well. Joe, yes, Joe, this is it's one of those, there's those memes that go around about the people, prisoners or ladies that have gone to prison that have got too much eyebrow makeup. And I would agree with you that I feel like this owl is the same. It has almost like a, what are those called, a mugshot, where the eyebrows have been penciled in and have been made too thick or too big and have got too much color on them. So I agree with you in some respects, but I like them. I think they're awesome looking owls. You can see that big facial disc that they've got, and look how they move their neck. Isn't that amazing? And they've got a very different structure to their spine than what we do, which allows them to rotate their neck like that without causing any damage to the spinal cord or the arteries that go up and down from the brain into the body. And the spacing for those arteries to be able to move, or when they move and twist like that, is about, I think it's, if I remember correctly, something like 8 times bigger than what our spacing is that we have. In fact, our spacing in our necks is very, very small for our arteries, and that's why if we had to move our neck as much as what these guys do, we would basically pinch them off and damage them. Whereas these guys are able to twist their neck and those arteries can move and have space to kind of go around and not get damaged by the movement of the actual neck, which is pretty cool, the vertebra. Amazing creatures, though. So nice when we get to see them in daylight, because often we just get this black and white kind of view of them at night, but in the day you can actually see all their colors and exactly what they look like. And you'll also notice that it doesn't have any sort of ear tufts up at this stage. So these guys have a much more rounded kind of appearance than what you'd see from something like a little scops owl, which will get these little ear tufts that will come up and almost look as though it's got these little pointy ears. These guys, while they do have little tufts, they are much smaller and rounder, and so their head generally is this kind of round shape that you see there. Awesome. Well, we didn't find Columba, but her track certainly led us to an epic sighting. That's for sure. It's not every day that we get to see owls, and it would be nice if the second one arrives back. It would be very, very cool, because the second one flew off a little bit, but if the two of them were together, it would be very cool. Michaela, what kind of call do these owls have? Well, don't worry, I'm going to play it for you so you can hear it, and you'll be able to know exactly. I'm pretty sure if you've ever watched the Dam Cam, you probably have heard this owl before, and we hear it quite regularly. It's got a very haunting call to it. I like it. It reminds me of my childhood, so I enjoy hearing it. But hold on 2 seconds. I'll play it for you now. So there we go. That's its call. It's quite a obviously big bird, so deep, bassy kind of call that it has. But I like it. It's a very sort of eerie call when you hear it, and especially if it's a sort of misty night, then it has a bit more resonance to it. I don't know why. It just makes it feel a little bit more creepy. And just look how big the eyes are as well, which will help it to be able to hunt at night and be able to find things that it's looking for. Huge, big, dark black eyes. So cool. Very fortunate this morning to have had a sighting like that. That's for sure. I'm a bit worried, though. I don't want it to fly away anymore. I feel like we disturbed it when we first came in, because they were both sitting low down right next to the kind of the path that we were on, and then they both kind of panicked and flew in different directions. So I feel a bit bad that they have separated. I don't think I'm going to stick around too much longer, just because I don't want it to have to fly again. It seems as though it's found a nice little spot that it's happy with sitting. It's very cool, though. Amazing how big they are. You know, we always kind of think of our owls and always think of small owls, but these guys are absolutely massive. I mean, they weigh 3 kilograms, which is a lot for a bird. So very, very cool. Right, we're going to leave our little Rose Eagle owl. We're going to move out of the area, and we'll come and try and find Columba this afternoon. I'm pretty sure Hyena Road is going to be a good bet for her later. In the meantime, though, let's send you back across to Rusty, who's still bumbling about on June.
You cannot deny those giant eagle owls are absolutely beautiful, and how he describes the makeup, especially when they close their eyelids and you can see this pink behind the eyelids. They are amazing, amazing birds, and it's very lucky to find them even during the day. But they are territorial, and they do, as you know, I'm sure he's told you all this, they hang around the same area. So, but if you do get a chance, you're very lucky to see them. I'll always try, and if I hear them or know they're in the area, I always try to look for them, because they are actually a very rare sighting now, because they are heavily predated on or killed, especially in the rural areas, through lack of education and not knowing what the owls are all about. So yeah, we're still in pursuit of elephants, but we still had no luck. There's a lot of activity around here. I know Morley's got some on walk. Morley has got some in the distance, and that is awesome, but we have had no luck with ellies. We found a lot of defecation and a lot of urine, and even the obvious scrape mark of the elephant trunk, which is also very cool to see. They're obviously a very relaxed elephant when it comes to that. But it's been an excellent morning. As some of you may know, or those who missed out, we had Tundi this morning just around the corner snorking a hare, which we sadly, rudely interrupted. It was a crazy, crazy morning when it came to that. And then she stalked Impala, which ended up with one of the Impala spotting her. She wasn't too fussed about it. She was like, oh, okay, I'll try again in 20 minutes. And she carried on marking her territory or releasing her scent, because she is in season. So whether or not she's looking for or any males are going to find her, we do not know. Whether Tingana will follow up on her, I don't know. There is a young male that's been hanging around the area, which she might be interested in, but we did not find any tracks of him following her. But yeah, she may pitch up this afternoon. She may have gone off our territory, but she might be back later on this afternoon, and we might catch her then, if not Tulamba or any others may be around. But yes, it's been an awesome morning. Awesome morning. The battlers gave us a bit of a show. It's been absolutely amazing. So yes, this afternoon is going to come very quickly, and we'll all see you for the sunset safari. Thank you very much, and see you soon.